And the Ad Council.
The views and opinions expressed during this program are not necessarily those of Overseas Radio Network, the Expat Broadcasting Group, the staff, management, or broadcast partners. All information provided is for educational purposes only. Before taking action, consult a licensed professional.
Bonjour, and welcome to Girls Guide to Paris, the show for travelers, Francophiles, and expat wannabes. With your host, Madame Donnie Bilo, Paris and France expert and founder of the website girlsguidetoparis.com. And now, your host, Donnie Bilo.
Bonjour, mes amis. This is Donnie Bilo coming to you live from Paris on my cell phone. So I hope that you can hear me clearly. We're having a little Skype trouble today. But anyway, it's been quite a crazy week. We actually just moved out of our house and moved into a new apartment on Ile Saint-Louis. Very exciting, but somehow we managed to completely furnish the place in just 1 week. I must say, I'm actually kind of impressed with myself. It's been a lot of work, but anyway, it's looking good, and it's quite warm here in Paris, so we're enjoying the summer, and we've got a fantastic guest for you. Paige Donner is someone I met a couple of years ago, and she is a specialist, especially in champagne, but in local food and wine. And she has her own blog, and she has a whole bunch of information to share with us, including gastronomic tours, wine tastings, and so forth. So very, very excited to have her on. Paige, how are you?
Hi, Donnie. I'm great. Thank you very much. And congratulations on your new digs.
Thank you. I know it's really, really, really exciting. Tell us to start off, actually, when did you arrive in Paris, and how did you find yourself here? What's your Paris story? Everybody has one.
Yeah, well, mine, like many others, had a lot to do with love. So I actually first arrived in the early 90s. To live. I had visited several times before, and it was when I came here to live, it was as a fairly new bride. We had been married a couple of years and had been living in California. But once I finished my university education, we decided to move back to France for my husband, who at the time I'm no longer married, but at the time was a native Parisian. So that's how I first came to France. Yeah,
very, very exciting. And you kind of went back and forth, and then now you've been here for how long?
Yeah, I jumped back and forth for the last couple of decades, and I've been here more frequently the last several years, and that's mainly been to a lot of opportunities, writing for the International Herald Tribune, writing the Fodor's Guidebook Paris 2013, doing consulting work, and also just following my own passion of delving ever more deeply into the world of wine.
What a wonderful passion to have. I think that is shared with quite a few of us. So it's specifically local food and wine, and I know you're also involved in the green movement. Tell us what sort of inspired you to get involved with that, and why local food and wine in particular is important.
Well, yeah, thanks for the question. Local food and wine for me is important because that's the name of my blog. So yeah. I started the blog and the website back in 2009, and it dovetailed on quite a lot of work that I had been doing both as a journalist and as a passionate environmentalist in the sustainability and environmental arena. And I saw that, food was really ever more a crucial issue. There was at one point in California, they were they were considering passing a law where it would have been against the law to plant tomatoes on your windowsill.
Oh my God!
And so, yeah, I think that was like 2008 or maybe 2007. And so that's when I realized, boy, this is something that's, that we've got to, look more closely at, and and just keep it in the forefront. So, yeah.
Well, and you've actually gotten a degree or a diploma of sorts in Champagne. Tell us a little bit about that, what that was like, and and I particularly love to have you share with us some of your favorite champagnes for good summer drinking.
Yeah, no, it's pleasure. It's the summer is definitely the season. Well, I mean, there's really no wrong time to drink champagne. As so many great people concur, Lily Bollinger and all those great quotes. So spending more and more time actually in the food and wine arena, I just blissfully followed my passion, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, have been delving ever more deeply into the world of wine, and so that ended up culminating this last year, 2012 now, in a specialization. It's a certification. It's actually a CIVC, which is the the professional organization of Champagne. It's a certification through their Washington, D.C. bureau, and it requires a substantial amount of studying, and then also, if you can, spending some time, meeting the producers, and doing tastings. So not just all book learning, but also actually getting a feel for the land and the landscape and the terroir and all of that. So so that's what I was able to do in 2012, and I'm just adding to that. Champagne, like Bordeaux, is a very traditional region, and so as famous as the wine is, believe it or not, there's there could be a lot more foreigners specialized in it, and it's kind of surprising that there aren't, actually.
Yeah. Especially since, what could be more fun than specializing in champagne? I can't think of anything. Now, if you want to find out more about what Paige is doing, you should go to localfoodandwine.wordpress.com. Now, I see you have an article here about, Bollinger, who has is using biodynamic grapes. Talk to us a little bit about, if anyone is doing the natural thing there in the Champagne region, and who are, really most important, who are some of your favorite producers?
Yeah, sure. Let me take those in order. It's actually Roederer and a few others, but in terms of the big brands, it's Roederer who's doing some biodynamic cultivation of their vineyards. In fact, a good percentage in years that merit it goes into
Hey, Paige, I'm so sorry. I hear the music going. I'm going to hold you there, and we're going to come right back. We're going to talk more about that and about your favorite champagnes for the summer. We'll be right back with Paige Donner. This is Donnie Bilo on Girls Guide to Paris.
Sit back and relax. You are tuned into the Overseas Radio Network.
Looking to invest, live, or retire overseas? Before you pack your bags, you need to log on to NagelLaw.com. It's the only stop you need to make for global business, asset protection, estate planning, overseas residency, and citizenship needs. Our experts have experience working in 41 countries around the world. Starting a business abroad can be overwhelming without expert help. We assist clients with foreign trust, foundations, corporations, LLCs, IBCs, and property acquisition. Need help with IRA assets abroad, capital formation, foreign securities issues, banking, brokerage, or finance needs? NagelLaw.com. We ensure compliance with U.S. tax and regulatory laws. We engineer global structures to help our clients achieve their personal and business objectives. To find out about our introductory personal asset protection plan, visit nagellaw.com, NAGELLAW.com. We represent capital overseas.
Just finished school? Newly retired? Looking for a change? Get certified to teach English and move abroad like thousands do every year. Global TESOL College comes to Costa Rica, the global organization that trains and certifies more ESL instructors than any other organization of its kind. For the past 15 years, we've trained and certified over 40,000 graduates in the field of TESOL. Live the dream of staying and studying at the beach. You will be living at one of our beautifully centrally located accommodation options in Jaco Beach on Costa Rica's Pacific coast. With a school, beach, and great restaurants all within walking distance, in a safe community with all the convenience of back home, discover why so many choose to earn their teaching certificate in Jaco Beach, Costa Rica. Visit us today for more information at www.globaltesolcostarica.com. That's global, TESOL, CostaRica.com. Mention this ad when you enroll and receive $50 off your tuition. Enroll with a friend and receive $100 off. The world is waiting for you, and Global TESOL College is your ticket.
Belize, a tropical paradise along the warm, welcoming waters of the Caribbean. If you love the sea, then you'll agree that Belize is fun. Dive the longest barrier reef in the Western Hemisphere. Snorkel in the middle of a rainbow of fish and coral. Fly fish a grand slam on the miles of flats and calm waters inside the reef. Or head out to deep waters and land a trophy. When you're back from a day of water, fun, and sun, find a hammock strung between two palm trees and enjoy a tropical mango smoothie, Jimmy's margarita, or a cold, refreshing Bellican beer. After a wonderful dinner watching the waves crash over the reef, kick off your shoes and dance the night away in the sand and under the stars at the Crazy Canucks Beach Bar. Mention the Overseas Radio Network. Stay your third night for free. Just remember Belize is fun, and you'll always be able to find us online. www.belizeisfun.com.
Have you ever dreamed of working abroad? Are you an expat looking for a job? Then you need to visit expatcareers.com, the premier worldwide, all-industry expatriate job site. We are dedicated to providing the best employment opportunities for professionals and experienced expatriates, or for those simply wishing to relocate within their home country. We provide job seekers with access to vacancies and offer recruiters a unique opportunity to advertise these vacancies to the best, most forward-looking individuals within their industry. We are not a recruitment or employment agency. We do, however, showcase the best jobs across the globe on a central, user-friendly careers website. At expatcareers.com, we are dedicated to providing the best employment opportunities for professional and experienced expatriates, or for those simply wishing to relocate within their home country or overseas. The next time you are looking for a change of pace, don't just look for a job. Look for a career. expatcareers.com. That's www.expatcareers.com.
You've decided that you want to move overseas for that quality of life experience you've always dreamed of. But you don't want to give up the best of back home. We agree. Things like high-speed internet, safe neighborhoods where you can stroll along a shaded sidewalk, a place where you know your neighbors and you have friends close by. These are important. Grand Pacifica Beach and Golf Resort gives you the best comforts of back home paired with the exceptional lifestyle only available south of the border. Imagine strolling along over 3 miles of secluded beach, playing a round of golf along the ocean, surfing a world-class break all to yourself, enjoying a fine meal on your balcony and toasting to another spectacular sunset. All this and more can be yours only an hour from Managua. Complete home and lot packages start under $100,000, and a nice home on the golf course is yours for the mid-twos. Come visit for a weekend and enjoy our oceanside golf course. Ride horseback on the beach, meet your future neighbors, and make some new friends. Grand Pacifica may be a place you'd like to call home. For more information, email Mike at mikesgringolife.com. That's Mike at mikesgringolife.com.
From China's Great Wall to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, this is the Overseas Radio Network.
And welcome back. This is Donnie Bilo with Girls Guide to Paris on the radio, coming to you live from Paris. I'm chatting with Paige Donner. She's also in Paris on the phone. And we are talking about her blog, Local Food and Wine, at .wordpress.com, And just as we were cut off there for commercial break, we were talking about Roederer, and they're using some biodynamic grapes. So they're sort of the first big name in Champagne to do that?
Well, they're one of them. The climate in Champagne tends toward wet. So cultivating biodynamic and organic, it can be a bit of a risky business. So it's not that the interest isn't here, but just the climatic factors are completely different from they are, for example, in Languedoc or Provence. Mm-hmm. So the interest is here is in Champagne, but yeah, it's just because of the climate conditions, it's a little bit of a different proposition. So let me speak to your question about recommendations.
Absolutely, that's what we're all dying for.
I figured, yeah, I know it's time to celebrate. The sunshine is out and it's summertime.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, as you know, Donnie, under my Paris Food and Wine banner, which is the events arm of Local Food and Wine, I've been organizing tastings for visitors and also corporate and private events. And some of those champagnes that I've showcased recently, one, for example, it's Lallier, and they're a beautiful champagne. They're based in Aix, which is actually the same village as where Boulanger is based. So it's a Grand Cru. It's a Grand Cru village. And their Grand Reserve Grand Cru is a beautiful champagne. It's 65% Pinot Noir and 35% Chardonnay. And both of those varietals of grapes, they source them from Grand Cru villages, meaning it's the villages that are classed as yielding a higher quality grape. Yes. And it's a beautiful champagne. It has notes of like a buttery brioche, and it's apricot fruitiness, and it also is balanced with a gorgeous vivacious freshness. So chilled in an ice bucket, it's just a beautiful champagne to enjoy at any time, but especially now as it's summer.
And that's Lallier.
Yes, that's Lallier champagne. So they're a medium-sized house. They're easy to find in France, and they are on the export market quite healthily as well. So
and what do you recommend drinking? Canada. I mean, what do you recommend eating with Lallier?
With that one, with the Grand Reserve Grand Cru, I would recommend. Actually, that one is substantial enough to even pair with. It's because of the buttery brioche. You could pair that even with like a nice lobster salad.
That sounds wonderful and perfect for a night like tonight here in Paris. It's nice and warm, and you can sit outside. I can't think of anything better to do. And so Lallier is one of your choices. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I have two more for you. I have Lanson's White Label. That was released in 2012. And it's a very interesting release. Well, number one, the bottle is extremely recognizable because it's all white. So it's kind of a design departure. And Lanson is a really big brand here in France and also in the UK. But they're actually only just on the US and Canadian market since the last year or two. But this white label is it's a very interesting champagne because the winemaker specifically chose to play with scents and aromas. So this is actually a very fun tasting champagne because, for example, what you can do is put out like little dishes of minced mint, basil leaves, some orange peels, very, very fine orange peels, a dish of nice, beautifully, perfectly ripe raspberries, and then, of course, the quintessential wild strawberries. And if you take each of these separately and you do a little tasting of them with the champagne, it evokes the aromatics of this white label Lanson just so beautifully. It's like an exploration in sensory delight.
Oh, wow, that sounds absolutely magnificent. I love that idea. I've never thought of tasting mint along with champagne, and that's brilliant. It sounds incredibly refreshing, incredibly summery. And what's number 3? Both L's so far, Lallier and Lanson.
Yes, Lallier and Lanson, yes. So now we're going to go with the J. And this one is Jacques de France, so Jacques de France. And it's actually from a different area, the more southern area of Champagne called the Aube, the Lobe. Mm-hmm. The nearest big town would be Troy. And this champagne is quite distinct. I love it. It's from the little town called Le Rissy. And Le Rissy is another area of France that's actually designated as a rosé appellation. So it's so the rosés here are very distinct and they're fruit forward. They're just lovely.
So is the Jacques de France a rosé champagne?
Yes.
Oh, that's my absolute favorite. I love a pink champagne. There's nothing like getting together with a group of ladies and have some pink champagne. Listen, we've got to take a quick break now for our commercials and announcements, and we will be right back with Paige Donner here on the Girls Guide to Paris on the radio at Overseas Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to overseasradio.com, your online radio resource about life abroad.
Hey, Elaine told me you were going to Paris this spring. How did you swing that?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going in May. Just can't wait.
Well, I'm totally jealous. How did you afford it? Europe seems so expensive right now.
Well, I read Girls Guide to Paris.
What? What's that?
Joy, it's an online travel guide. And the cool new thing they have is a travel club, which I just joined. The club has something like 100 partners in Paris. All of their partners, including the hotel that I booked, give you either a special price or an upgrade or VIP treatment. And you know how I love to be treated like a queen.
So where are you staying?
I'm staying with my hubby at the Hotel Le Grand, and I'm saving like $200 on the week's stay. Plus, Don and I are going to do a cooking class together. It's like a second honeymoon.
Hey, now I know what to tell John to get me for my birthday.
GirlsGuideToParis.com. Click on Travel Club to learn more.
This is 90 Seconds with Joel Nagel on the Overseas Radio Network.
I have under $250,000 in assets I'd like to protect. I understand a good first step is to open a bank account outside the U.S. What are the immediate benefits of this?
Well, it makes sense for everybody to have a bank account outside the United States. If there's ever any kind of future, capital controls, currency controls, limitations on the ability to move funds, it's good to have a nest egg outside the United States.
Okay, so supposing that I do have this nest egg outside of the U.S. and the sum is greater than $10,000 US, it's my understanding that I have to report this amount to a government agency. To which agency do I have to report this?
If you have a bank account that has more than $10,000 in it outside the United States, you'll have to report that every year to the Treasury Department. It's a simple form you have to do every June 30th.
But imagine that I do have an account offshore currently, and the amount that is in that account is less than $10,000 US. Do I still have to report this amount to the U.S. Treasury?
If it's less than $10,000, there is no report associated with it.
Essentially, though, this bank account would be my first step towards moving many of my assets offshore.
The bank account is sort of the fundamental building block. From there, you can go on to do many other things.
For more information on the 15 global strategies to protect your wealth, visit NagelLaw.com. That's NagelLaw.com.
This is Kathleen Petticord and Leif Simon with the Live and Invest Overseas Minute on the Overseas Radio Network. One of the most important decisions you face when planning for a move to another country is to do with health insurance. This is a very personal decision with big implications. The first thing to understand is that with few exceptions, your U.S. health insurance and your U.S. Medicare are not going to travel with you beyond U.S. borders.
But you can find very good and very affordable options for obtaining health insurance in another country, whether you're retiring there or living there, depending on where in the world you're thinking of settling. In some countries, in fact, you can find full local coverage for as little as $100 or less a month.
The alternative would be an international policy. That is, international health insurance from an international health insurer. The critical difference between an international policy and a local policy is to do with geography. A local policy covers you only locally, only in the country where you purchased it, or in some cases, only in particular regions of that country, or only at particular medical care facilities or hospitals. For more information on making the leap overseas, visit us online at liveandinvestoverseas.com.
You're listening to the Overseas Radio Network, the exclusive online radio station for the expatriate community.
And welcome back. This is Donnie Bilo coming to you live from Paris in my unfurnished den. This is why we have a little bit of an echo. So sorry about that. We are talking to Paige Donner today. She's giving us some fantastic champagne choices. Check her blog out at localfoodandwine.wordpress.com. So I'm going to post these 3 champagnes that you just told us about on our Facebook page. So take a look at facebook.com/Girls Guide to Paris, and you'll find them there. They all sound lovely. What are the price points on those?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's great. I'll check and do a like on your Facebook when you post that.
Great. And are they expensive? What are the price points on those 3 champagnes?
Well, yeah, no, they're all quite reasonable. Lallier comes in at about 30 euros. Lanson White Label are right around the same, about 30 euros. And Jacques de France comes in at about 25 euros.
I'm going to run out and get some of that tonight. It sounds fantastic.
Good.
So tell me a little bit about your wine tasting programs. You also do some trips, I think, to the regions. Talk to us about how you got involved in that and what are the different things you've been taking people to do.
Yeah, well, it's mainly been bespoke. So it's when people organize, it's usually been, say, a friend who wants to come over with a group of their friends or some family members. And so far I've done trips from day trips to 2 to 3 to 4 days around Champagne. So either centering on Epernay or Reims, the main towns who each have very big, Epernay, for example, has Mode and Chandon winery and cellars, and then Reims has Tattanger, and many, many others. And then also a bit in Bordeaux. So Bordeaux is that's really for people who I think are either passionately interested or perhaps even a little serious and maybe looking to do some buying and stocking for their own cellars, or maybe even professionally are coming over to do some buying for their wine shop or wine store back home in the U.S. or Canada. And that encompasses both and or either Saint-Emilion, which is the right bank, of course, Saint-Emilion, Frontenac, Pomerol, or the left bank, which is the Medoc. So, and again, it's just been mostly bespoke tours. And then also there's in the Languedoc. The Languedoc is very interesting, and it's becoming more well known. The wines, of course, are the price points are a little lower. So, and the wine discoveries in that region are wonderful. then a bit in Burgundy, although in Burgundy that it kind of focuses around certain festivals during the year. Like in November, there's a wonderful Hospice de Beaune, where there's some great festivals, and so I love to take people to that. But mostly, so those are just bespoke, tailor-made tours, for people who are basically, friends or friends of friends or professional acquaintances. And then otherwise I've been organizing, tastings for, groups of people who are in Paris and want to be introduced to, how to taste, and what to look for when you're tasting, and then also maybe who are just interested in discovering some grower champagnes or some different appellations that they may not know or they may not recognize when they go to the grocery store, when they're here in France.
Yes, there's such a huge selection here that and it's also so frustrating when you get back home. At least I've always been frustrated by this because we have a house down in Bordeaux, and we can get really some incredible wines for 8 and 10 euros, and then you go back home and you can't find that wine, or something similar is $45. So it's you got to drink it while you're here and buy it and ship it back. We've done a lot of that because we have a guy in Saint-Emilion, and of course I'm sure you've got a whole bunch of people who they don't tax you when it's being shipped, and then you can ship however much you want, and while you are paying for the shipping, you get the tax off, so it ends up being kind of a wash. So you're really getting it for the same price as you can here, which is so much less than back home. And of course it's always better to buy the things you can't get back home at all. At least that's usually what I tell people. When they come over to our house down there and they want to do some wine tasting, wine buying, it's so much fun. I mean, what could be more fun than visiting chateaus, right?
I agree. Very, very well said. I'm glad you explained too about the shipping, and I think that's the real satisfying part of it. Is having wine. I think I've just lost you, Paige. Being able to find at your local shop.
I don't know what happened here, but we will get her back and resume these fantastic questions about champagne and local food and wine. Paige Donner can be found at localfoodandwine.wordpress.com, and we're going to take a break and be right back.
Sit back and relax. You are tuned into the Overseas Radio Network.
Have you been getting it wrong with your investments? Are you confused by all the views advocated by the media? Do you want to take the guesswork out of money matters? Then visit investmentpostcards.com, the international investment blog for novice and professional investors who want to maximize their investments in stocks, bonds, currencies, gold, and commodities. Learn about which countries, asset classes, and specific themes you should invest in, and importantly, which ones you must avoid. Run by investment guru and author Pierre Duplessis. InvestmentPostcards.com gives you all the economic and financial tools you need to make sound investment decisions. Take control of your investment portfolio now. For independent insight in an uncertain world, visit InvestmentPostcards.com. That's InvestmentPostcards.com.
Are you looking for a place with more freedom, lower taxes, less regulation, strong property rights, low corruption, a bright future, and Mediterranean climate? Chile might be the country for you. Freedom Orchard is a new sustainable community specifically designed for freedom-minded people looking for a lifestyle of affordable luxuries. Conveniently located less than an hour from Santiago and the beaches of Viña del Mar, Freedom Orchard is a great place to live. Visit freedomorchard.com for details. Don't deprive yourself of the amenities of modern life. Be one of the first to participate in this new development at attractive promotional prices for building lots and high-return investments in organic working farms. Visit freedomorchard.com to review the marketing brochure today. No gimmicks, no delays, no libertarian questionnaire required, no secrecy, no unfulfilled promises. Chile is moving in the right direction for economic freedom. Shouldn't you too? Obtain that peace of mind you are looking for. Your best choice for a new life in Chile is found at freedomorchard.com.
Voyage for Health connects you to the most affordable medical treatments abroad. Save up to 80% on surgical, dental, and wellness procedures by traveling just a short distance from home. Taking care of your health is essential to life abroad, and you need to know where to go and whom to trust for your medical needs. So, don't choose your healthcare provider blindly. Let Voyage for Health be your guide. As a leading medical tourism provider, Voyage for Health has the knowledge and expertise to connect you to the best doctors abroad, and they will coordinate every detail of your medical journey. For more information and download your free medical travel handbook, visit voyageforhealth.com today. voyageforhealth.com.
You're listening to the Overseas Radio Network, the exclusive online radio station for the expatriate community.
And welcome back. This is Donnie Belo on the Girls Guide to Paris. I'm here talking with Paige Donner of localfoodandwine.wordpress.com. And I do apologize. We're having some troubles today with my connection. So I apologize to you, Paige. I was trying to respond to you there, and I'm sure all of a sudden it was a little bit confusing. But anyway, I love the fact that you're taking people on these bespoke tours, and would love to try one myself sometime soon. I've been we have a place in Bordeaux, so I've been there a lot, but I need to go back to Champagne, and you sound like the perfect person to go back with. I've only been there once, so love to try some of the growers' champagne. And describe to people what the difference is between, Moët Chandon, the large houses, and some of these the growers' wines.
Well, you can hear me okay, right?
Yes, I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, I would love to take you on a tour through Champagne, Donnie. And yeah, well, the difference is a grower champagne is generally a smaller and family-run business. So they're generally producing thousands or tens of thousands of bottles, and not millions or tens of millions of bottles of champagne annually. So I guess you could almost say it's kind of like the local food or the local production level of champagne making. That's actually a really big question, because Champagne is organized very differerly from other wine regions, in that the top 16 big houses that are household names for many of us, Moët and Chandon and Taittinger and Roederer, those are all they're big houses, and they dominate the production of champagne by a long shot. Mm-hmm. So more and more grower champagnes are coming on the market. So rather than, since the last about 2 decades, rather than selling their grapes just straight to the big houses and letting them make their champagnes with their grapes, they're actually making their own champagnes. So I should probably leave it at that. Otherwise, I'll just talk for hours on that.
No, but I mean, I think it's interesting because, you know, in other regions, almost every wine, you know, the producer is growing his own grapes, but in Champagne, it's just these grower producers, which are actually the less, you know, the less normal of the Champagne houses. And actually, most people are purchasing grapes, which is unusual in any other region. I mean, you never see that in Bordeaux, except for in the wine co-ops or something where they're, you know, none of the chateaux, they all produce their own grapes. So I just think that's sort of an interesting thing about Champagne and how it's different. Now, question for you. Let's talk white wines and rosés. I love rosé, especially at lunchtime in the summer when it's hot. Do you have any recommendations for us? I know you've done some time also in Provence, but of course they make rosé in a lot of places around France.
Yeah, I do. I have some rosé picks for you. And I completely agree with you about, you know, a rosé at lunchtime, especially when you're on vacation. But as a Francophile, I know that you are very well aware that in France, rosé is very much the l'heure d'apéritif, you know, drink, the wine that you sip at cocktail hour.
Yes.
So in fact, I remember one time when I was in Provence, and I made the huge faux pas of ordering a glass of white wine at 6 o'clock, you know, while we were all sitting down for our before dinner drink, and it was sort of looked askance of like, you know, you must drink rosé at the hour of the aperitif, you know. So, but yeah, so
that's funny.
I've got. I know, it was, and I don't think I've ever ordered a glass of white wine again at 6 o'clock, but, with dinner, of course. But anyway, yeah, I've got a couple picks, for you. I wanted to highlight Tavel because, and I know you know Tavel.
Yes.
But if you're new to wine and you're kind of wondering, well, which rosé is good, if you pick a Tavel, you cannot go wrong.
Yes, I agree.
And the whole, the whole appellation is rosé, and it was the first rosé designated in France. So, you know, you just really can't go wrong. And it's from the Côte d'Aron. It's a mix, so it's predominantly usually a Grenache blend. And the one I highlighted is 2012's Le Lozère. And it's by Le Vigneron de Tavel. Le Vigneron de Tavel, so that's basically winemakers of Tavel. It's the co-op. Yeah. But it's wonderful. You know, for under 10 euros, you know, you're going to get a delightful bottle of rosé wine, and it's basically breaks down to about 50% Grenache, about 20% Cinsault, 6% Claret, 7% Picpoul et Bourboulon, and then the rest is about 17% of like a blend of Syrah, Mourvèdre, and Vieux Carignan. So
wow, a real mutt. It's got a lot of things in there.
Yeah, exactly, and very, very indicative too of the Côte d'Aron. All the beautiful varietals from the Côte d'Aron. So yeah, and I jotted down a little quote from Tavel. Shall I read it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, it says Tavel wine can live several lives. A sweet and flowery childhood, a full-bodied and spicy adolescence, and a peppery and richly mellowed old age.
That's fantastic. I love it. And is this particular Lazare, I think you said, is that available in the States as well, or in the UK?
Yes, I believe that is available in the States. Yes. That is available in the States. The 2012s will probably just be coming onto market now. But yeah, if you do any search under Le Vigneron de Tavel, you'll come up with several selections from them. I just highlighted that particular cuvée. Yeah.
And what do you like to eat with the Provençal rosé? Like, is it just for aperitifs? I mean, I think it also tastes pretty fabulous with some spicy food too.
Oh, I have to completely agree with you on that, on the spicy food. Yeah, especially, when it's perfectly chilled. And if we go to the original thought of a lunchtime, I would pair it with like a grilled goat cheese salad. Some nice olives. Yeah, perfect.
Wow, you're making me hungry. Now, do you have some more rosés for us?
I do. I wanted to revert back to the La Rice's, which is once again in the Champagne region. But it's a rosé that because they make it's the only appellation in Champagne where they can make a rosé still wine and a rosé champagne as well. So the rosé still wine is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's very fruit forward. So you have raspberries and wild strawberries on the nose, but it's perfectly balanced as well. So the acidity and the fruit forwardness, it just blends with a wonderful freshness. It's always 100% Pinot Noir. So this is going to be a 100% Pinot Noir based rosé. And I would really recommend, it's not that well known actually, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful rosé, and even Louis XIV loved it.
Wow, Les Rices. So let me ask you, where do you live? Which arrondissement do you live in Paris?
Oh, I've been at home in Passy for.
Yeah, that's right, Passy. Passy is your neighborhood, which is, for those of you who don't know, the 16th arrondissement. Very, very chic and lovely, beautiful, and near the park. So, what are your suggestions? What if I'm just going to the 16th for the first time? Do you have any favorite cafes, places to taste the champagne you've been talking about, or shops that are not to be missed?
Yeah, sure, Donnie. I love to show off my little neck of the woods. You're right. It is seen as being chic, but it does also, like you said, it has wonderful parks. So if you have a dog, it's a great area to live in. I would say on Place Trocadero for a cafe. The go-to is Carrette's.
Oh yeah, I love that place.
Yeah, it's like who doesn't? It's just so you've got that view straight onto Trocadero. If you lean over just a little bit, you can see the Eiffel Tower too, and it's just, the pastries are fantastic. Macarons, their macarons are up there with La Durée and Pierre Hermé. It's just, I love that place. So.
I do too. It's classic, very French.
Yes. And then, for things to do, there's two things I love. Well, I have to mention, since we've been so on the topic, there is the Musée du Vin, the wine museum.
Yes. I've not been to that. Did you like it? Is it interesting?
It is. It's very interesting. It's very well done.